Hey everybody. So what we're going to do in this update is talk a little bit about TIG welding. I have probably over half my emails coming to me right now is asking me to do some more videos on what I'm doing with TIG welding up the fuselage. I don't want to get heavily into how to TIG weld because there's a million YouTube videos out there. Some are done by really good professional welders, some are done by people who are trying to just get YouTube followers to watch them because they're just welding some flat steel and they're not showing, or they're welding two pieces of aluminum together. They're not showing any difficult welds. Welding to 4130 takes some time and patience, but I want to dive into this, okay? Like I said before, I'm trying to keep my videos under 5 minutes. So if you don't know what TIG welding is, you need to kind of go back and look at what stick welding or arc welding is. Well, stick welding, because I think it's still all considered an arc. But arc welding is where you would take, like, let's say this is a welding rod. You basically have a ground to the piece of steel, and when this touches, it creates an arc, and it melts this rod as you're going down. So that's what I call stick welding. MIG welding is where there's a wire feed, and it can either be a flux core, which creates its own kind of like argon shield as it's melting, or you have to use an argon shield with an argon tank like this over here with the MIG welder. Now, arc welding, from what I've done in the past, is good for thicker metals. So if you were welding up some angled steel or welding up like a table or something, stick welding is really good for that, okay? You need to, and it's for thicker metals, okay? I don't know if I've ever seen anybody stick weld like 1/8" sheet metal. Maybe somebody can. I've never seen it and I've never done it. MIG welding is really nice because with that continuous wire feed, you have a spool, and I have a MIG welder, and actually it's under this table right now. I should have pulled it out. Yeah, it's under this table. But what's really nice about the MIG welder is if you're doing thicker steel, but you just want to keep going without changing rods, because on a stick welder, the rod melts down. Excuse me. On a MIG welder, it's wire feed. So as long as your spool has filler wire on it, you're going to be able to keep welding. TIG welding is where you have your torch and you have an electrode in here, tungsten electrode, and this creates a extremely hot arc, and that arc is used with filler rod. This is a filler rod, and by the way, I always cut these in half because a big long filler rod like this is just weird to try to hold. But I always cut these in half, and what you do is you have a pedal, and as you give it a little bit of throttle, it will immediately start the gas flow going because you have to have the argon shield. So in the torch here, there's a cup, and argon gas comes through the tube here, creates an argon shield from what you're welding. There can't be any oxygen right at the point it's welding. It's got to be pure argon. That's my argon tank. On the argon tank is a flow meter. The flow meter sets for how many cubic feet a minute flow I want. I set mine at about 10 to 15 cubic feet. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's what works. Below 10, you'll see some sparks, almost like a sparkler, and that tells you you don't have a good argon shield. And if you crank it up high, you're just wasting argon. So to start welding, you ease this down, you hear the rush of argon, the swoosh of argon, and then a couple of seconds later, the arc will start. There is on the machine what's called pre-flow and post-flow. So you want the argon shield to be there when the arc starts. So I set mine on about a half a second. So when I push the pedal down, I get a half a second of argon going, and then the arc starts, and then I do my weld. When I'm welding, there's a lot of different ways I've seen on YouTube people do this, but my way's working really good. So, I normally hold the torch like this. I've got my filler rod. I will normally lay my filler rod right where I'm going to weld, get the metal really hot where it starts to pool, slide my filler rod in. As soon as the filler rod starts to melt, I'll start to do kind of like figure eights as I'm moving across where I'm welding, but I'm also pushing the filler rod in a little bit. Now, there are sometimes I just lay the filler rod there and I'll go down the filler rod, and that's enough filler rod to make a good joint. But normally I find out you need about 1.5 times. So if I was going to use an inch of, if I was going to do an inch weld, I need like 1.5 inches of filler rod to do that 1 inch of weld. So one of the things you've also got to do is buy yourself a good pair of the thinner TIG welding gloves. The big thick gloves that you use when you stick weld, you can't feel things precise enough. I tell you, the hardest thing for me to TIG weld, and I've said this before in other videos, I did a lot of stick welding when I was a kid. I did some MIG welding about, 15 years ago for about 5 years when I was working on the Doom buggies and the buggies for the buggy park. I was modifying frames. But I only TIG welded once at a friend's house, and it was maybe 10 or 15 minutes where he showed me how it worked. But I tell you, the hardest thing about TIG welding is if you've got the shakes in your hand, you're going to have a hard time TIG welding. I have even a hard time. One thing I always do is put this around my neck so that I don't have the weight. If you've got the weight of this hanging there, okay, it's weird when you're trying to move it. You got all this weight. So I always throw this around my neck. And one thing that is extremely frustrating, it's called dipping. And it's where you've got the arc going. That arc is only about 1/8 of an inch, maybe 3/16 at the most, and probably closer to 1/8. So as you're moving along, if you ever dip the electrode in the molten metal and pull it back out, you sometimes can keep going. But you'll see that your little arc, your little torch or whatever, it's an arc, it just starts going apeshit, okay? So every time you dip, you have to take this out and you need to grind it. The best grinder is the grinders you buy, at least for me, for sharpening your tungsten electrode. They actually make little grinders for it. If you're not, you need to get a grinder that doesn't leave any residue on this. And it's like a diamond, I don't even remember what it's called. It's called a diamond grinder or a diamond tip grinder or whatever. So you can really grind this. On a stone grinder, you can do it, and I've done it, but when you first start, you'll see some of that crap want to burn off it. So you need to really clean the electrode if you're going to use a stone grinder. And I usually would use some alcohol or maybe even acetone just to clean it off. But I don't know anything about the gas welding except that I used to use gas torches to cut stuff. I've had some friends tell me that with gas welding, it's almost like TIG welding, because with a gas torch, you can control your heat very well by how far the torch flame is getting into the metal. With the TIG welding, I'm using my throttle pedal, at least I call it my throttle pedal. One thing is you can set your TIG welder so that you have what I basically call a panel control, where you can control your amperage here. So if I flip the switch to panel control, this doesn't work, and basically when I get really close to it, it senses it and it's going to start it and start welding. Okay? With this, when you push the pedal, that's what's starting it. So you do have an amp control on this too. So don't get confused. If you're setting the amps over here, when it's on foot control, it will not work. And you need to watch this, because I use my foot to scoot this around, and sometimes I'll turn it accidentally way down, and I'm sitting there trying to get the metal hot enough, and I immediately realize, okay, I don't have enough amps. If you accidentally kick it up too high, you'll go right through this 4130. You'll put a hole right through it. Now, I don't know enough about people welding thin wall tube with MIG welding to know if MIG would work. I did read a thread on a experimental aircraft blog where a guy had gotten 80% of his Airbike done and burned through and put a big old hole in the metal. he's freaking out. Me personally, I think I know how to re-close that hole. At least with a TIG welder, I definitely could do it. With a MIG welder, I don't know if I could. Keep in mind, one thing that I love about the TIG welding is when I've got this torch in my hand, if I want to create an arc that's really, really small by barely pressing the pedal, I can sit there and start watching that metal get red. Then I can get it a little bit more red, and then right as it starts to puddle, you can take filler rod and do some neat things. So if you accidentally burned a hole through your thin wall tubing, you can sit there and start heating up the perimeter of the hole and start putting filler rod to it and close that hole right back up. Make sure though you get good penetration on the perimeter, and you can grind that down and virtually nobody will tell you had a hole there. But I do want to warn you something. I don't know what that does for the strength of the tubing. If you've got a hole that is literally the size of like an eraser head, I think you're okay closing it up. If you've got a hole which is half the tubing, you need to do some research or find out from somebody if you closing that up, if this filler rod is going to be strong enough for that piece of tubing that you have basically melted away. When I talk about closing holes up, most holes that I accidentally make in my tubing are literally an 1/8 inch, maybe 3/16 in diameter. They're not 1/4 inch holes. I've never had a 1/4 inch hole. That would be huge for me. But I hope you find this informative. I'm just trying to get this video out on why I chose TIG welding, and I think, in my opinion, and I could be totally wrong here, but on this type of thin wall 4130, I think only a gas torch or TIG welding would be the easiest way to do this. Now, I will tell you one thing that's really, really hard about this, and you got to kind of think out what you're doing, is there's some places on this airplane, once you weld some tubing in, you can't physically get in there to weld all the way around it easily. So I've had 2 places on this where I've really pushed out the electrode. So your electrode is supposed to be whatever the width of your cup is, and the cups come in different diameters depending on how much argon you want to come out. Now, some people say, well, put the biggest cup you can. Well, the problem with the biggest cup is you can't get into tight spots if you got a big old cup on here. So your electrode should stick out. So if you had like a opening that was, let's say 6 millimeters, you want 6 millimeter of tungsten rod sticking out. If you got 8 millimeters, then you want 8 millimeters at the most. But sometimes I'll stick it out however far it takes me to get to a place, and I'll crank the crap up out of the argon. It's still messy. You see some sparks, but if you're careful, you can still get a good enough arc. You can get a good weld. But you need to think out the sequence that you're putting this together so that you don't end up with a place you can't get to that you can't weld. So I hope this helps everybody, and I'm trying to do 2 or 3 videos a week right now. And the asking me why I chose TIG welding has been quite a few emails that I've been trying to answer, so I just decided to do a video on it. So I'll be back later this week. Oops, what are we talking about? Today's Thursday. With New Year's being, yeah, today's Thursday, right? Right. So with New Year's being yesterday, it felt like a Sunday. So I will try this weekend to do more videos, and do me a favor though, I'm trying to slowly build my YouTube. I don't monetize anything, but please hit the subscribe button so I understand how many people are really watching my videos, okay? And, you know, I don't have enough followers to monetize this, and sometimes I talk about different manufacturers by name and stuff, and you can't do that if you're monetizing it. But just do me a favor, hit subscribe if you like my videos. So, rock on, keep watching my videos, everybody, and I'll see you the next time. Thanks for watching, everybody.